All right, guys, let's chat a little boxing. I mean, to me, this is what social media is about, reaching out to people all over the nation, in different states, and talking about things we want to talk about, which is boxing. To some of us, anyways. And now that I've had some time to kind of take in this Kovalev-Ward fight, much anticipated, big fight, didn't turn out to be what I wanted it to be. You know, it left us just a little bit empty at the end, I think. And, you know, I'm watching different videos, different people's take on it. You know, Ward's side is pretty much saying, you know, hey, he went out, did what he had to do. The Kovalev people, and we look at people commenting on, you know, what happened in this video or what happened on that night. A lot of the Kovalevs are strictly blaming it, you know, it's the, you know, it's Vegas, it's Ward, it was Tony Weeks the ref. And I looked at everything and I rewatched some of it and rewatched the 8th round a couple times, and I came to the conclusion, who is to blame for what went down the way it went down? And you know, I'd hate to say it at first, but I gotta say, at the end of the day, number one, Kovalev is to blame for it. He was winning the fight. He was winning the fight, I'd say 5 rounds to 2. I mean, guys who like contra-box numbers, look at the contra-box numbers. He threw over 400 punches in the first 8 rounds. That's almost as many as he threw in the whole first fight. So he did what he was supposed to do and step up his game, okay? But when push came to shove, he didn't shove. And this is what turned it for me. Yes, the fight clearly ended on a low blow. Anyone that doesn't have their head in their ass sees it ended on the low blow. But this was the issue. He's had some issues with that during the fight. And this is one of the things that turned my opinion. There's 2 things. One was, right, Tony Weeks stated, you know, this is the belt line, and anything below the belt line at all, let's say this is the belt line, if it's here, that's on the belt line. This is border. If it's half and half, it's considered technically a low blow. Partway through the 8th round, one of the shots that bent Kovalev over was a clear, good body shot. Ward landed a shot right here, clearly on the body, and Kovalev buckles over and looks for Tony Weeks to jump in. Now, there are other low blows, clearly low blows. You can watch it, you can see with your own eyes. Clearly low blows that Tony Weeks didn't see, I guess you'd say. The shot that buckled him early in the 8th round was a good body shot. Kovalev was looking for a way out at that point, I think. He was mentally taken out of his game. So he's the first person you got to look at. Bad stoppage. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't think that was a good stoppage, but it wasn't terrible. And the person I can't blame for it is Ward. Ward made a great point. He did what he was supposed to do. And he shows why he's a great fighter. So first and foremost, you got to look at Kovalev. Secondly, you know, I am starting to have a problem with the business of boxing, which is the A side and B side of things. This is something that it's part of the business. Guys earn their A side. Some necessarily don't, but they earn their A side for the most part. But it causes such complications. I mean, when you get to pick the judges, you get to pick the ref, and on the other side says no, you say, well, no, we're not having a fight. But then call yourself, you know, these all-time greats, but yet you're manipulating so much of the system. And hey, it's a business. You're allowed to manipulate the system because you're the bigger name, I guess. But it doesn't mold well with boxing. You know, one of the reasons I rooted for Kovalev to win was because the first fight, Kovalev won that fight. Now, this is how you tell if a guy knows boxing history or not. Back in the day, there was a saying, to beat the champ, which Kovalev was, you got to knock out the champ. Ward didn't even come close to knocking out the champ. You know, you don't give the contender the belt on a close fight. You know, again, they had the preference of the judges. And there's a guy, Montero Mike Montero does Montero Boxing. I watch him. He's got some insight on this. And he actually said 2 weeks before this fight, Gary Feldman and Dave Moretti were going to score for Ward no matter you know what. If the round is close at all, they're going to give every last round to Ward. And looking into this fight, they had Ward up in this fight 4 rounds to 3 before it was stopped, which is complete bullshit. Okay, and he was right on, and he has a lot of insight on you know, what goes on behind the scenes with the media and the camps, and you know, it was clear. It was clear, and the same thing with the first fight. So that's part of the reason I rooted for, you know, Kovalev. I do like him as a fighter, but when the cards are stacked against you, it just throws another, you know, wrench into the system. You know, he never should have lost that first fight. Listen, if you had it 6 rounds to 6, that's fine. The knockdown was the difference. He's the champion. He knocks the contender down in a very close fight. That was the edge in the fight to me. I personally had a 7 rounds to 5 plus the knockdown. And to have it, you know, more than 6 to 6, you had to give every single close round award. You gave it to the contender. Like I said, you're not understanding the history of boxing. You used to have to beat the champ to beat the champ. Not just hand the other guy the belts and go, hey, it was close, we don't know, here you go. It is what it is. You know, the other problem going into this fight, because this should have been a trilogy. It should have been Kovalev takes the first fight, Ward takes the second fight, and then you have a true battle for the third fight. But that's not going to happen because both fights go to Ward. He got the very A-side advantage all throughout. So who even wants to see the trilogy at this point? It's kind of like it's just a bad break. The cookie crumbled bad, and it is what it is now. But the other part that kind of bothers me is Ward's camp was such a mess going into this. I mean, John David Jackson is talking to Ward's side, and he kind of slipped out of something. I think it was with Radio Raheem, and he said, well, if they gave me more money, then maybe. It was something weird along those lines. But where the proof was in the pudding to me was right after the fight. Jackson wasn't even away from the ring yet, and they start asking him questions. You can pull this up on YouTube. He all but threw Kovalev under the bus. Well, he didn't do this right. He wasn't this. He wasn't that good. You should be with Kathy Duva making the same argument that she's making, you know, about the low blows. You should have been in the corner yelling that from the beginning. You should have been jumping in the ring. Rev, you're going to stop the damn low blows? What are you doing? But no passion. You know, threw him under the bus afterwards. His other trainer also, you know, there's a YouTube video with him, and he kind of said, hey, he's just not that good. He's got one punch. This is your corner? Your corner? Minutes after the fight? I mean, they had left him out to dry. You know, Duva's the only one that stood up. She fought for her fighter. Now, she's not going to win the appeal. We all know that. You're going against the Nevada State Commission, I mean, which gave me bad vibes from the Rigondeaux fight. Now, I don't have anything against Rigondeaux. You know, people think you hate on him because you don't rank him #1 pound for pound, but really he's been inactive. He hasn't had a good win since Nonito Donaire. And he just happens to fall on the wrong side of things, just like Ward did at times. Ward had the promotional problems. That wasn't his fault. You know, he didn't fight for a while. He fought, you know, some names no one cared about. He can't even sell out in Oakland. Again, not his fault. He's a wonderful fighter. But Rigondeaux fell on the same kind of just unlucky streak. Rigondeaux goes into this fight. It's a clear, you know, punch after the bell. We didn't get to see him showcase his skills because Rigondeaux probably would have kicked his ass and looked great. Instead, he hits him after the bell. The ref goes out to talk to the Nevada State Commission, and right in, you know, the ref goes, I'm going to call the no contest, I'm going to call no contest. And the guy from the state commission goes, whoa, wait, hold up. What do you mean? What do you mean? You know, it basically is influence on them. They're going back and forth. And the Nevada State Commission guy said, oh, I thought they told me this on that. Like, what the hell are you doing? Right from there, going into this, you know, going into the Ward Kovalev fight, I just thinking to myself, oh, It's going to happen again. We're going to see some bullshit. Again, it is what it is. Kovalev should have probably nailed him in the nuts back. Yes, Weeks would have jumped on him and you know, took the point away from him instead of, you know, taking the point away from Ward, which he should have. But that's, again, A side. But at the end of the day, we got to give Ward his props. Ward did everything he was supposed to do. And so many people concentrate on an O, you know, the guy who's undefeated. But what's more impressive sometimes than being undefeated is to take an L, go back, fight that same guy again, and avenge your loss. And essentially that's what Ward did. Because to me, he lost the fight. It was 75 to 80% of all writers ringside that night said Ward lost the fight. He did. He lost that first fight. He was given it. He was given the belt. With that being said, he avenged his loss. He stepped up his game. He wanted it more than Kovalev, and he showed it. So, you know, hats off to Ward. A lot of people are going to rank him #1 pound for pound. I'm going to do a pound for pound list myself, and we'll see where he falls. But this is the question I have to ask everybody that doesn't want to see it as, you know, Kovalev got the short end of the stick twice. And again, I lay the blame on Kovalev. He should have came out and did something different. Maybe even took a knee at the end because the ref was not on his side. But it is what it is. But let me throw this at you. Put it this way. What if Ward was the champion? Ward had all 3 belts. Kovalev was the contender, okay? They fought in Russia. They fight in Russia. Ward's the champ. Ward knocks him down. They have a very close fight, and they give all the belts to Kovalev in Russia. What are you saying as American fans? What are you saying as Ward fans if they did that? Can you see the point? And let's take it further. Then they go back to Russia for the second fight. They're in Russia, and Kovalev is just nailing them with low blows. I mean, time after time. And he's beating them up a little too. He's catching good quality body shots, catching them with good punches, but boom, low ball, boom. I mean, the last one was clearly low. Now, many people will say he was going to go anyways, and it's possible. But guess what? We didn't get to see it play out. And that hurts Ward a little bit. You know, Ward could have finished like a hero. He still finishes like a hero in some eyes, but you know, the last blow was clearly low. You've got belt line, 2-3 inches below the belt line. You've got the name across, and some people are dumb enough to say, "Oh, that's the navel." No, the navel. Even if the belt's high, even if it's up here, this is still the navel. Those numbers were down here. I mean, you clearly seen that. He bends over again, looking for the refs help a little bit, and that was a true low blow. I mean, you could see why he bent over like that. But if the ref wasn't going to call it, you had to protect yourself. Take a knee and complain about it, but then you got to get up. And easier said than done. I mean, who wants to get hit in the nuts with a shot like that? You know. But at that point, you know, I don't know. It didn't end cleanly. You probably won't see a third fight because why would Ward give him a third match? And the promotion teams hate each other. So that ends up being how it ends. Listen, I think I'm calling it fair and square as can be, as I always do. And sometimes people think I have a bias towards certain fighters. I like certain fighters. I do. Certain fighters, I like their style. I like their personality, so I root for them. But I can call them. It's not hard to call, and you can challenge me on anything. I'm here. But hey, man, talk about it. Don't be shy to comment. Don't be no Facebook stalker that's afraid to say something. So I enjoy this. I'd like to do a video every week so I can get a little bit of input. I know if we're not saying the words McGregor and Mayweather, no one wants to chime in, it seems like. But if you guys are boxing fans, let's talk.